Hey there, and welcome back to Cosmic Crypto. In this video, we're going to be talking about GALA, G-A-L-A. Let's go. Okay, welcome back to the channel. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go down below, hit that subscribe button. And while you're down there, if you could tap the like button, I'd really appreciate it. All right, GALA Games. I am on the 1 hourly time frame. I'm just going to do a quick update here. We all know what happened with GALA Games. It went crazy. Mark Wahlberg and The Rock decided to do something with them. Not 100% sure what's going on. They're making some kind of movie or something like that for a 2-movie deal. Is that right? Anyway, GALA had a massive move off of that. And actually, let's move out a little bit. Let's go to the weekly. I'll zoom in here in a minute, but GALA Games had been just trending down for a long time. It had lost from the top over here down to the bottom over here 98% of its value, and it had been hitting resistance on this resistance line here, you know, for a while. We finally had the massive breakout to the upside, and from the very bottom to the top of this breakout is roughly 200%. Pretty decent move. But what can we see next? Are we going to continue this move? Are we going to get a retracement? Let's kind of find out. So going down to the daily, see if we can see anything. I got all these lines here. I'm going to show you what those lines are here in a minute. Sorry, they're blocking the view. These yellow lines here are blocking the view a little bit, but we almost reached the 200 EMA. For GALA, or did we wick up to it? Let me see. I got all these lines here, so almost did it. So we reached all the way up to here around just 5 cents. We had just a tiny bit more to go to get to the 200 EMA. Got a massive rejection wick around that area, but that's not really what I'm interested in. So not only, well, first off, we're on the daily. Not only are we way overbought here, just about 90, and usually when you get to 90, that's when you see either a decent retracement or a rollover around that area. Also, the trend directional is curling over here to possibly get a red dot up here, and then we'll have possible. I mean, I think it's going to be a retracement. I think that GALA has seen its bottom, may go sideways. This was a pretty massive move, 200% move in, how many days was that? I mean, that was not very many. 4 days, 200% move in 4 days, pretty big. So sideways consolidation, or at minimum, and then a retracement most likely. Going down to the 12-hour here, we're getting closer to why I have these lines here. We broke above the 200 EMA, so as you can see here, we hit the resistance. This yellow line is our massive resistance from, you know, a long time ago. We hit this resistance, we came above it, we held it as support for 3 12-hour candles here, so just about 2 days almost. Held it as support here. And then that's when we had the news. We had the news from GALA come out saying whatever they said. And then we had a massive move to the upside. And on the 12-hour, super overbought here at 93. So yeah, a little over 93 even. Going down to the 4-hour. Now this is where we start to get some interesting things going on here. So again, overbought. But we started to create, where we created the bearish divergence. Maybe it's the 1 hour. Let's see. That higher. Yeah, bearish divergence. Yeah. So we started to create our bearish. Well, we started it at a lower time frame, but we at the 4 hour right now have a bearish divergence, and the volume is starting to taper off a little bit. We've got divergence here on the trend directional. We're also forming a lot. We're above the red line here on the trend directional on the waves. Also, we're getting a lot of these red dots popping up. Reversal here, not a reversal, a retracement here is definitely likely. On the 4 hour, where are some retracement points for this? Possible. Let's put a Fibonacci from this low right here to this high right here. Get rid of that again. So coming back down to the 618 would, in my opinion, most likely happen, which is going to, even if it's just a wick, to bring us down to just over 3 cents. or at least to the 0.5, which would make more sense here in a second. 0.5 is most likely, in my opinion. 0.618 is likely. 0.786 would bring us back down to retest these 55 EMA, which would be good for the price action to have it come back down, do a little stair step, and then it can continue on to the upside. But let's go down to the hourly, which is where all my stuff is at here. So the reason why I say that the 0.5 and possibly the 618 is pretty likely is we're forming this rising broadening wedge here, and we could not fill this gap up here, so we had been going back and forth, and then we finally, hit a stop right here and are starting to fall downwards. And what happened here is, if we take a Fibonacci, sorry for the mess here, but just pay close attention here, kind of look through all this mess because I don't want to delete anything just yet. So from the top here down to the bottom, you can see that we hit the 618, hit it again and fell. And now we're just continuing to roll over here. And if we zoom in even closer, and let's go down to the 30 minutes so we can see it a little bit better. So now from this top here to this bottom here, we barely got above the 618, but then we're rolling over. But if we go even closer, and I have this top, just so you know, I have this top line here just to show resistance, because I have a trade open right now on GALA, and I just wanted to, this is for my visual purposes, to see where the resistance was at. It lined up perfectly with the 786. But I've got these other two lines here because if you zoom in even further to the 15-minute chart, you can see that while we were in this rising broadening wedge and we did hit the 618 up here and we're rolling over, we were forming this rising wedge, not a rising broadening wedge, but a rising wedge inside of the rising broadening wedge, which the target for this rising wedge here is outside of the rising broadening wedge. And so what I'm saying is what I think is going to happen here, possibly, unless we can break above this right here, which is right around the 04672 area. If we can break above that, then all this is invalidated. But until then, it does look like, so we've come up and retested it already. So we broke out, retested it. Looks like we're going to come down to the price target of this rising wedge here, which is right around the 4 cent area, possibly come back, do a retest, and then continue on down to then come down for the retracement levels. Oops. For the retracement levels to come down to, I mean, it could even just come down to the 382. It's pretty bullish right now, but I'm going to assume it's going to come down to the 0.5, which would be the target for this rising broadening wedge. It would be the 0.5 Fibonacci here. But also, I do think it could come down to the 618 here as well because of how strong of a move this was. Because it was such a strong move, and as you hear, now that we're on the hourly time frame, you can see the divergence coming in here. So you've got the higher high here, and then you go down to the RSI, and you've got the lower high here. So we do have the divergence where it's rolling over. So, I mean, it's anybody's guess, but I think somewhere in this area here is where we're going to land for a retracement. And maybe we just go sideways in here for a little bit and then continue on to the upside if GALA is going to maintain its bullishness. It needs a little bit of time to cool off, in my opinion. And I think we're going to see that here in the next couple of days. Maybe we get, I think there's a meeting or something going on Wednesday. That might affect the price and drop some prices. I'm not really sure. Is that the CPI? I can't remember. Anyway, something's going on here this week. But maybe that'll help push the price down, get some bad news, or maybe the markets just move during that time, and we just get a little push down to the downside. We get our retracement in, and then what you want to do is you want to pay attention. And actually, because of the strong move, it still could even come down to the 786, which would line up perfectly with when it comes down there, it would line up perfectly with this 200 EMA to retest the 200 EMA as support, also the 786, and then we can continue on to the upside. But in the short term, I do believe GALA has a retracement coming in, unless we can break above that 4.5 cent level. If we get above that, then that's probably invalidated, and we can continue on to the upside. And actually, right now, if you look in, there's also a head and shoulders forming here on GALA. So we've got the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder is forming, and it would form completely if all of these patterns that I've drawn out here play out as the rising broadening wedge, the rising wedge. If all those play out, that'll also create the head and shoulders pattern, which this actually will give us a better target, in my opinion, of where we might be falling to. So let's take that head and shoulders pattern target, and we'll move it to right. Oh, look at that, right at the 618. So there's a, I mean, that just solidifies my theory here that we're going to come down to the 618 at least with GALA. So just pay attention for that. If you're holding GALA for the long term, it's probably okay to keep holding it. I think GALA, now that, let's go back out to the weekly here. Now that GALA has broken out of this long-term resistance here, we can see a massive move from GALA coming. We already did, but we can see even a bigger one. I mean, let's look at this one right here from the bottom here all the way. And actually, let me redo that. I want to start from this candle. From the bottom there to the top was a 4,300% move, and it only took just over 2 months to complete that kind of a move. So let's just say we do something like, and actually look what it did. We had that massive move to the upside. We went sideways, like I said we might do here, go sideways for a little bit, and then we had a massive pump later. So from the sideways action until the next pump, that was, 49 days, something like that, to get that sideways action in. So let's just say we did something like that again, and our sideways action took us to 49 days. I mean, till the next pump, 49 days is February 27th. And that could, I mean, if we did something similar to that, that could bring us all the way to the price target of this move, which would be roughly around the 75 to 80 cent level. And all of that done by the end of February. It's possible. It's happened in the past. Doesn't mean it's going to happen again, but it still might. You never know. Also on the weekly time frame, we really need to get above this 50 on the RSI here. That's pretty important. We're still bearish until we get above that. And let's do a retracement here. I don't want to delete my stuff, so just, again, don't pay attention to that. From this top here down to this bottom, okay, so we have come up and we got to that 786 level on this move, which is actually good for the bulls because that means we broke above the golden pocket here, broke above the 618. So now, yeah, dancing around this area here for a couple of weeks, and then we get another impulse to the upside is definitely possible, in my opinion. But in the short term, I do believe that there is a retracement happening. And let me just zoom in one more time just to see where we're at. Get rid of my drawings here. Okay, so let's go down to the 15-minute. So, yeah, so anyway, so you can see how it was respecting the 618 here. So it hit it, finally broke above it, held it as support. Then it broke down below, and now we're retesting that 618 as resistance as we've broken down from this rising wedge, which then would bring us down to form that head and shoulders pattern, which is likely, again, unless we get above that 4.5 cent level. Anyway, that's all I got for GALA. Kind of short-term, long-term. Long-term, very bullish. Short-term, not so bullish. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button, share this video, all that other good stuff, and I will talk to you later.